lesson?
It's regarding the Bushes.
Okay.
So George Bush,
Yeah.
George H.W. Bush, and then it's mainly about the father, or George Bush's father, George H.W. Bush's father.
Who was the
Prescott,
president?
who was not.
Who was the president?
George H.W. Bush and George Bush.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the guy you're talking about is in the middle.
No,
His
grandfather.
grandfather of W.
Was president.
No.
No, it was two Bushes.
Listen.
The dad, the son, and then the grandpa was not.
Was not. His name was Prescott Bush.
Yeah, I got that. What's up?
The thing I learned today was of how Prescott Bush and multiple businessmen elites within the United States, J.P. Morgan, the Durant family, which is General Motors, DuPont family, which is the industrial family, they made gunpowder, the Remington family, potentially Henry Ford, I had a hard time finding whether or not, were forming an active coup to take over the U.S. government and convert it into a fascist state that replicated Hitler or the Nazi Party.
No way.
Yes.
After World War II?
No.
Before.
Before. No way.
Yeah. Or before and during.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess before we got into the war. But
I can imagine that's a time where, I mean, because if the world is actually at war, that's probably a good time to attack or to build something, right?
Yeah.
Especially powerful families like them.
So basically, FDR was the president, and what he did was he implemented this act to where this was like right after the Great Depression or during it. He was basically going to tax the rich and tax these big corporations higher to subsidize for people that didn't have jobs. All these businessmen were like, hate that, don't want to do that. And so they formed this party called the American Liberty League. And basically, it got so far down the rabbit hole, or of them planning it, that they had recruited 500,000 ex-soldiers that fought in World War I. And they had got this guy, his name was General Smedley Butler.
No,
Okay.
that's not real.
First of all, you just made a joke about heavy farts, and then that's his real name? That's great.
Smedley Butler. And he was a decorated war general. And so they're like, hey, come, this is what we're doing. We're forming this coup where we are going to literally march these 500,000 soldiers to overtake the White House and implement martial law. And when we implement martial law, anyone that doesn't have a job, anyone that's unemployed, because this was during the Great Depression, they will go to these imprisonment camps and basically have to do slave labor. And anyone that opposed this party or this movement will be killed. But General Butler, Smedley Butler, he was basically, without anyone telling him to do this, when he was asked to be a part of this movement, being the general of this army, he agreed. But his whole intention was to find out who was behind this thing. And as soon as he found out about all these elites, J.P. Morgan, Henry Ford, Prescott Bush, he went to have a congressional hearing, a closed congressional hearing, and spilled the beans. This is what they're planning on doing.
Oh, so he was a rat. So he infiltrated everything.
Yeah, or a spy, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Rat.
But but this is crazy. So he did that, and instead of these, because what they were doing was treason.
Yeah.
And what happened was when Congress released the notes of that meeting, they purposely left out all of like J.P. Morgan's name, all these dudes' names that were just like, and he's like, why aren't you putting their names in? Like, well, we don't want to release it yet until we gather more evidence. Almost every documentation regarding this hearing was destroyed. And instead of them being charged for treason, they apparently met with FDR. And FDR said, you guys can go scot-free, but you have to get behind what I want to do with this new plan that I'm implementing.
Yeah.
And what I found interesting was after they agreed to that, a year later, we entered World War II.
Whoa.
So maybe there was a plan.
I was funding, like, so he's like,
wow,
you guys don't overthrow me, and we're going to go to war, and you guys are going to profit off of the war.
Yeah.